What really makes us better people is our capacity to question the status quo to achieve positive change. If you are seeking to adopt new habits, to learn about a kind lifestyle, low-waste living, and speaking up for justice, you have come to the right place. Together, we will make the switch that will light up this world. I'm Morgan, and I'm happy to welcome you on this journey. Hi, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of the Positive Switch podcast. In the last episode, I mentioned more in detail my own background with health and how I just stayed healthy for over 2 years, how I haven't been sick for over 2 years, and now I just wanted to dig more into the topic of general mental and physical health and just give you basically my best tips to live a happy and healthy life, free of stress and that kind of things that are damaging to our own happiness and health. So without waiting much longer, let's just dig in. Like I mentioned in the last episodes, I think that a whole food plant-based diet is essential for many parts of our health, whether it's physical health or mental health. Eating a whole food plant-based diet will help you a long way. And what's really important in this diet is that you actually focus on the 5 essential food groups. So that includes fruit, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and nuts and seeds. Along with that diet, you should also, if needed, implement some supplements in that diet. So for me, that would be, of course, B12, which is essential not only for vegans or vegetarians or whatever diet you want to have, and at this moment, I actually want to remember and to correct myself and just make the distinction between vegan and someone who follows a whole food plant-based diet. Vegan, being a vegan, living a vegan lifestyle means refusing the exploitation of animals and their murder in the different industries that they are used and basically considered as products. And having a whole food plant-based diet is focusing on plants in your diet, but it doesn't mean that you are refusing the exploitation and murder of animals in other forms in different parts of your life. So I live a vegan lifestyle and I have a whole food plant-based diet. And within this diet, I focus on B12 as part of my supplementation, on iodine, on vitamin D, and omega-3s. And I think that any person who is actually having a whole food plant-based diet should focus on these supplements as well. Of course, for me, that just goes along with it. Avoiding animal foods, animal products is also essential for you to have a happy and healthy life. Animal products, animals are not products, but that's how our society calls them. They stem from industries of torture and death, and they bring no benefits whatsoever in our health. In fact, most of them have been linked through several studies to diabetes, to several types of cancer, to Alzheimer's disease and other brain disease, brain conditions, and many more. What animal products also don't bring with them is fiber and phytonutrients, which are present in plant-based foods and are just so beneficial to our health. So really, animal products, just industries that make of these animals products for us to eat and then shit it in the toilet, that for me belongs in the trash, not in our bodies. Animals deserve to be free of oppression, and just free to live a peaceful life, and they certainly don't belong on our plates. Another major point is for me to avoid processed foods. So that's any kind of foods that have been just already made and like packed in sterile packagings with different additives in there and things that you basically don't want to have in your body. Of course, I know that sometimes as a vegan it's not really hard, but we tend to have some cravings and we tend to want to kind of imitate the taste of meat or fish or make delicious ice creams, and therefore we just go to the plant-based products instead of actually maybe trying to make them by ourselves. So if you want to have some help and actually create a healthier version of some of your favorite meals or favorite snacks, then please don't hesitate to check out Eat the Rainbow, which is the channel and the platform basically where Mark, my boyfriend, and I make delicious whole food plant-based recipes from scratch, and we just try to, for example, make a kind of meaty dish with seitan or different spices, with jackfruit as well, as we did recently. So please just don't hesitate to check it out. A main thing I think along this lifestyle, this health routine, is for me to train your brain. What I mean by training your brain, I think most of us, one of our biggest fears is to sometime in our life to get Alzheimer disease. We want to avoid it. When we think about it, it's just devastating. Just even having the idea that one of our grandparents has Alzheimer is just a destructive idea. And therefore, an amazing book that I would recommend to read to have a bigger picture of this condition is The Alzheimer Solution by Dean and Ayesha Sherzai, which are two amazing plant-based doctors. So please make sure to check that out. And there are different ways to keep your brain healthy, and those go from reading to learning languages to learning to play different instruments or one instrument. There are just so many ways, and the whole food plant-based diet has been proven as well to help this. So check this book. Going on to sport and movement, I think that keeping moving, whether it's at work or outside, is essential to remain healthy, live a bit longer, live happier. To actually do that, I think it's important for you to find a sport that suits you, a sport that you enjoy, that brings you that freedom that you seek, especially after a long day at work. I think that sport is also great in terms of mental health, because it will help you maybe to become more confident, to feel a bit more sure about taking some initiatives, even in your workplace or at home. It's just got so many benefits to it. So yeah, you just have such a huge array of different sports. So just try, if you have to, try everything out within reason. I wouldn't do some sports that are like very dangerous. But for example, my passion right now is training, like kind of muscle training, bodybuilding at the gym, and it's got different benefits to it as well. For example, for your back and your different postures, I can notice how it has helped me to just adopt a better posture, and it helped me for my back. And I just also feel much fuller in my body, because I used to be a bit thin maybe. And now that I train, and my goal is also to build muscles, so by logic I also have to put on more weight, so I have to eat more protein. And therefore, ever since I've been doing this, I've had that goal, and it just enhances so many parts of my life, and I feel just so much better than now that I'm eating more than in the body weight I used to have, for example, 2 years ago. So for me, that's bodybuilding. For you, that might be dancing, it might be tennis or handball, whatever. Just find it in the huge rainbow of different sports that are present out there. When you're at work, there are several ways that you can integrate movement during your day. You could have, I used to have a colleague at my former work, and she would have she had an iWatch, and she would just set up like a kind of alarm or notification for I think maybe every 2 hours or once an hour. And that would be the time where everybody would just have to get up from their desk and just like move a little bit, like stretch our legs and just stretch generally our arms and just get some movement in. And at that time, I didn't realize how important it was. And now that I'm living with my boyfriend, who's also much more into nutrition and general health than I am, I've just discovered how hugely important that is to just move your body whenever you can. Like, avoid just sitting all day or in front of a computer. When you're at home or even at work, try to get a standing desk. Even better, as the Dr. Michael Greger has shown, is to have a kind of treadmill. Is it called treadmill? I think so. Like a treadmill standing desk. So he's got like a treadmill, and he just like kind of like made up that desk thing on his treadmill, so he can actually like walk at the same time that he is working on his computer. I think it's an amazing idea. If you have the skills, like, just go for it and do it. But yeah, when you're at work, you could ask your boss, like, can I get a standing desk? Like, it's just much better for my health and for any employee's health. And I think as a boss, that's your responsibility to care for the health of your employees as well. You could also do some squats in those couple of minutes that you stand up once every hour or every 2 hours at work. And you could also talk to your boss and encourage him or her to implement maybe a sport class, a 1 hour or 2 hour sport class once a week. That's something I had at my workplace 2 years ago, and I can definitely see how positive it was to have this luck. And then I want to go on mental health and happiness, relaxation. I think that now everybody knows that stress, and especially oxidative stress, is damaging to our health. Of course, there are different forms of stress that are not beneficial to our health, and our goal should be to just thrive, to avoid stress in any form at any time in our life. Of course, there are different situations that happen and we're not in control of them, and sometimes we just lose it and we're not able to control our stress. But focus on the times where you can be in control, and focus on just implementing more relaxation as much as you can into your everyday life. So that might be through different kind of meditative sports or activities like yoga or meditation, dancing, painting even, or drawing. As for me, I've just encountered, like I've just found out for myself that since starting to paint, to watercolor paint, it can take up to several hours, 2-3 hours, I don't know, but whenever I do it, I feel it's so soothing and relaxing. I'm really focused on what I'm doing, and it allows me to just be creative, to have that time for myself, just with myself, with my creativity and my inspiration. And it's just really freeing and so peaceful. I can only recommend it if you've never tried it, and especially just working with all the different colors. I think that this has also something therapeutic to it. When you work with these different colors, and especially with maybe warm tones or blue tones especially, which I think blue is kind of distressing, like unstressing color. I don't really know what's the adjective for it, but blue, let's say, is a relaxing color. So whenever I just work with these different colors and basically work with a rainbow, I feel like it just automatically soothes me. Also, self-love, I am convinced, has a major role in our just general health and happiness. I cannot emphasize it enough. If you're constantly judging yourself and feeling guilty or ashamed of yourself, whether it's of your physical or if you're ashamed basically of your body, or of the person you are, then I think it's in your best interest to deal with this, to work on it, and to set goals for yourself. What kind of person do you want to be in life? And do you want to be always struggling with yourself and at war with yourself? Or do you want to be in peace with yourself and accepting of who you are? And I think that's something that everybody should just strives for, and just basically the goal should be to stop being our own enemy and to become our best friend. And there are many ways we can do that. I think that meditation helps a lot. Spending time alone in nature, just doing things that we truly love and focusing on what really appeals to us, what soothes us, rather than doing things for others and not for ourselves. There are just so many ways that you can improve your confidence and to help you accept your body as well. If you're interested in that kind of topic, I would highly recommend you to check out one of my episodes. I think it was the episode 63 that I did with Vivian Kiefer, who is an amazing friend of mine, and we've talked about self-love and body acceptance as well. A wonderful episode that I highly recommend you to check out. And of course, I will leave it in the show notes and in the description box for YouTube. Also, I will make sure to link the different books that I mention and so on. An important part of this kind of everyday ritual to make sure to stay happy and healthy, I think, is to avoid drugs like alcohol and smoking. Generally, I think that inhaling smoke in different forms, whether it's through weed or cigarettes or whatsoever, is not good for our lungs. I don't see any benefits in several kinds of drugs. I think I have only tried, well, I said the majority of people drink alcohol, so I've tried alcohol, I've tried smoking, cigarettes, and weed, and then I just made my own experience. I saw that I wasn't feeling at ease with it, that it wasn't bringing me any benefit. It was rather actually taking control over me, like it was becoming something automatic, and I just saw how I was losing control, and I wasn't being the one who was deciding. So after, like, I think I was smoking cigarettes for a month, and then I realized how my body just got used to it, and I thought, okay, I don't think that's a good thing, especially knowing that it causes cancer and different types of cancer. I thought, okay, it's time to stop. I've learned my lessons. I've done the experience. It doesn't mean you have to try it to figure it out. I would just say, like, stay away from it, because it really just doesn't bring anything in your life, rather problems and difficulties. And alcohol is kind of the same. It took me a while, I guess, to notice that alcohol is just mainly a social thing, and people only drink because there are other people drinking, or other people are encouraging them, actually, to, in my eyes, forcing them to drink alcohol. And in different environments, we are really pushed to drink alcohol whether we want it or not. And I wasn't feeling comfortable with this kind of society standard, and I just decided for myself to stop it. And after doing just a little research, I just saw, like, maybe with the exception of wine that might have some positive aspects to it within moderation, there is no alcohol that actually has any benefit on your body, actually quite the contrary. So yeah, I would just advise you to stay away from it. But if you want to know the full story on how I stopped drinking alcohol, not that I was an alcoholic, but why I just ditched it, you can check out another episode of this podcast as well, which I will link in the show notes. Another great, another great aspect, another great, hobby, activity, habit to bring in your life to make sure that you stay mentally healthy is to enjoy the sun rays. Like, don't be scared of the sun. Of course, it's something I guess that we have to do in moderation, but like, if you're not getting burned, there's no reason to be afraid from the sun. I don't think you always have to, like, be protected like 100% with a sun lotion. Only if you know, like, you're gonna be exposed for a full day and it's gonna be really hot and the sun is gonna be burning like hell, then of course I would recommend, like, not letting yourself be grilled in the sun the whole day, and maybe have some protection. But when you go in the sun and maybe enjoy like 1 hour of sun or 30 minutes, well, it's great for your mood. I think it contributes to having a great mood, and I personally notice it in winter or in fall when there's not so much sun outside, and I just feel kind of a little bit depressed. I can notice that my mood is just much more down than when the sun is out. So especially in summer or whenever the sun is out, just make sure that you get some time in the sun, some time in nature. That's also highly important, to just recharge, to be alone with yourself and just being at peace outside, to be present in the moment. And it's just so easy to be present in nature, because when you're surrounded by all these different wild and natural noises and surrounded by all the life that's going on in nature, I think it's really easy to just stay mindful when you start observing and just paying attention to everything. So sun, super important, and plus it helps you produce vitamin D. Sleep is definitely not emphasized enough in our society. it's even sometimes kind of celebrated, like what's the word, like admired. If someone has gotten only 5 or 3 hours of sleep, we're like, oh my god, like this person is a warrior. But actually it's quite dumb, because it's super important for our health, and there's a reason why after, I don't know, like after 16 hours, like there's a reason why our body also like releases a certain hormone to actually put ourselves to sleep. Sleep is restorative, it's regenerating. There is so much that is going on in our body when we actually like kind of what's the word, kind of turn off a little bit. And if we don't do that, we just like stupidly put ourselves at risk of triggering an accident, of being the cause of an accident. We are putting ourselves in danger, we are putting others in danger, we're putting our own children even sometimes in danger. But there are just so many reasons to have a good restorative sleep. I think for adults, maybe from like 18 to into 50 or 60 age, whatever, I don't know what I'm saying, in the age where you're 60, you should get between like 7 and 8 hours of sleep. But I'm not the expert to tell like your children, for example, how many hours of sleep they should get, but I think it's more than adults. But if you want to just basically learn all about sleep and why it's so important for our health, don't hesitate to check out the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. You can even like check out some conferences or podcasts that he's been on. I'm pretty sure he has done TEDx as well. The next point I have here is relationships. I think it's really important and wise from us to wisely choose our relationships, to surround ourselves with positive relationships, with people that lift us up rather than bring us down, to be with people that are like-minded and who are open and who will not be scared, afraid to talk to us whenever a kind of uncomfortable situation arises, who won't be afraid to question us, to question our own convictions, our habits, and who don't just like, how could I say this? Relationships with individuals who don't put you in a box for one thing that you might say or have said or will say, and think that because you have said that, you are this kind of person and you will be the same kind of person for the rest of your life. It's just happened to me so many times in my life, and now I realize that I want to stand up to my convictions, to some opinions, and I'm really open for criticism and questioning my own opinions. But I know that my friends will do it in a way, in a wiser way, if I may say so, and not just like erase me from their life and put me in the box because I said one thing, and they will actually try to dig deeper and to understand better why would I do or say something. I think relationships are important, and especially when we notice that some of them are becoming toxic, that they are making us doubt the person we are, doubt the person we have become, and they make us do things that are more what others expect of us when we reach that point where we're no longer doing the things that we do for ourselves and because we have a purpose, then I think it's really just, it's not longer serving us, and we should just stop these kinds of relationships. Another thing that I wrote down is possessions, and what I mean with possessions is all that is material, all the things that we own. I think that they play a huge role in our life, and they have a certain weight and burden sometimes in our life. There's a lot of the things that we own sometimes are emotional, and they have a really heavy emotional baggage, and they remind us of experiences that we've had. They remind us of people, and sometimes it's really easy to get attached to these things and to not let go, to being, we're mostly scared of letting go. And yeah, I think that sometimes we just have to know when it's time to get rid of certain things, because otherwise we just tend to gather and like to possess always more possessions. And sometimes that can just weigh on our shoulders. So I would advise you just stay light from time to time, to go and organize things and tidy up things and get rid of things. Detach yourself from them if they're no longer serving you, so that they can maybe serve someone else and bring positivity and joy in someone else's life. And finally, the last thing I wrote down is to have a purpose. I think if you want to live for a long time and happy and free of stress, I think it's essential that you have a goal, something that really keeps you moving, always moving forward, that keeps you questioning and unlearning and relearning, something that just keeps you moving all the time. And like basically avoid staying stuck somewhere, staying stuck in the same job, staying stuck I don't know, with the same ideas. I think it's important to renew ourselves, because our body is like biologically it's renewing itself like every day, every week. Several parts of our body are regenerating every now and then, and I think it's the same in our life. We have to just let go of things and let new things come in, but it's always important to have something that you can really focus on, so that you're like always motivated to go forward and to stick to your habits, because you know that there is this goal behind it. And I think that's definitely one of the best tips and habits that I could give you to have a fulfilling and happy life. So yeah, I think that's been quite a long podcast, and I've talked for enough time now. I hope that brought some value to you, and if you have any questions, if you need other kinds of information on the several topics that I mentioned in this podcast, don't hesitate to comment. Please leave a review so that I could just kind of elevate this podcast a little and reach out to more people to help them where they are right now. Thank you for paying attention to this. Thank you for tuning in, for being there. That means a lot to me. And I wish you a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.